Today's project is this little LED matrix that actually plugs into an M.2 slot that is usually meant for NVMe drives. It can be controlled from the browser. I even let the people in the chat send graphics directly to it. This whole project is open source and this is how we pulled it off. This video is sponsored by Isla. Everything started with my mega cluster I made a while ago. I used some dense pin headers to interface between the components. But there is an easier way by using edge connectors, which are basically exposed circuit board pads that can plug in special sockets like these. RAM sticks, graphics card and SSD drives are using those. Especially M.2 SSDs caught my attention because the connectors are quite common and have a dense 0.5mm pin pitch. The standard is also quite versatile as it can provide a lot of different interfaces like PCI Express, SATA and sometimes even USB. The capabilities and pin configurations are basically determined by the key of the socket. Especially keys B and M provide PCI Express, which is the lowest level versatile interface we could access. They are usually meant for ultra-fast NVMe drives, but we are here to think outside the box. I instantly side-quested from finding a new connector to actually try and put everything onto an M.2 board. Since I'm not knowledgeable at all how PCI Express works, I tried to find a simple interface IC that would take care of that and maybe convert it to something that I already know. Some obvious options would be to find an PCI Express to USB or even simpler PCIe to serial chip. Serial has the benefit that it can be accessed from the browser over web serial on the PC side, and it's one of the most common communication protocols for microcontrollers on the hardware side. Since this is a serious research project, I checked eBay for PCI Express to serial cards and there were plenty available. Looking at the chip, I was surprised to recognize a well-known logo, WCH. A few years ago, they basically replaced all the FTDI serial chips on the microcontrollers and provided us with these amazingly cheap RISC-V MCUs. Checking their website, I quickly found a chip which provides 2 serial ports and even a parallel port if you like. The driver support for Windows 11 proves that it's still maintained well. Beside this chip, I found 2 other ones that act as an interface between PCIe and a low-level parallel bus, which might be also interesting. I asked Patrick from WCH if they would be so kind to provide me with samples for those. And he actually sent me a few samples and even some dev kits to try. That was really generous and we were even able to make the parallel interface cards work on livestream with some basic code. But that's a topic for another time, so subscribe to not miss that. More important was to get hands on the CH382 serial chip. And here it was. Thankfully WCH provides detailed reference manuals and even circuit designs. What I like the most about their chips is that their minimal design requires only a few passive components and not even a crystal. Hooking it up to the PCIe interface seems to be no magic. So I designed a simple circuit that would connect the first serial port to the CH382 microcontroller. And I used just most of the microcontroller pins to drive an LED matrix as an example project. But there was still this elephant in the room, how to program the MCU after it's plugged in the PC. I added some pads for the in-circuit programmer, but those won't be easily accessible. Searching through GitHub, I stumbled across a browser-based firmware uploader for all those RISC-V chips. It turns out the bootloader of most of these chips support an upload over serial mode. You just need to fiddle with those 2 boot and reset pins. That sounded somewhat familiar. The ESP chips have a similar functionality and they are basically abusing the serial control flow pins to put the chips into the programming mode. If I was able to pull off something similar with my board, I could just plug it in and upload the firmware and control it from the browser on any operating system without the need to use any proprietary software. I tried to fiddle a reset circuit in place that might work and come back to extend this tool later. Chat found some helpful M.2 footprints that Timon put out there on GitHub, which gave us a good starting point. I completed the first design and ordered it at Isla, which is today's sponsor. They asked me already last year if I would like to promote their new obscenely affordable 0.8mm 4-layer PCB service. The best part is M.2 boards are specified for 0.8mm thickness. So this actually is the perfect use case. Although edge connectors would typically be done with hard-plated gold, their unique finish will be perfectly fine here. Especially if you consider that you get the board starting from around $20, no hidden costs and made in the EU. With the code 0.8mm, first-time users will get $20 off until the end of this year, and my regulars get always $5 off with the code BOARDLOONY. I used the Blitz service to get the boards and the stencils within 1 week at a still reasonable price, and I was amazed when they arrived. What I didn't consider is using the placement indicators for the mouse bites. Using those, you will receive the PCBs and panels, and you will get castellated edges for free. So if you have a 4-layer project in your drawer that you like to finish, give them a try and help supporting this new service. The pixel pump helped again placing the components and the 240 LEDs. I would go mental trying to do this all with tweezers, as the LEDs need to be oriented correctly. Picking them directly from the tape in the part magazines makes this actually relaxing. Check out the link to the pump and the magazines in the description. Now that it's completed, it only needed a reflow. And a little touch up. Okay, my sloppy paste job and the 0.4mm pin pitch really called for that. I decided to use this mini PC for testing. It runs Windows and this way I won't potentially be melting my main PC. Now the moment of truth.
Now let's turn it on. Okay, it's blue.
You know the moments when your project isn't working but you smell something?
Oh.
Yeah.
This is getting hot. Both.
I made a M.2 coffee heater. It looked like the 1.8 volts LDO and the serial chip were just heating up, but the device wasn't recognized by the system. This wasn't good.
We have 1.78, that's correct.
I shouldn't have assembled the whole board right away.
Okay, we need to populate another board.
I made another one just with the serial chip. Same issue.
Oh, it's getting hot again and it's not showing up. 68 degrees. Okay, let's turn it on. What? 300 milliamps.
Reversing the voltage with my bench power supply certainly didn't help.
Same issue.
Alright, back to the drawing board. Meanwhile, at Hackaday Berlin, some experts told me that PCI Express lanes not only should be length matched, but also should have an uninterrupted ground plane. Yeah, that might need a little rework.
It's a mess.
Hooking it up to the PCIe interface seems to be no magic.
But the actual mistake happened in the table for the edge connector. I got all the PCI Express lanes correctly except for the first one, switching receive and transmit. This is hilarious. If I'd set up a poll for you to vote what my mistake would be, this would certainly be the #1 meme answer. Oh well, I fixed that, added the frame markers to the M.2 footprint for Eisler, and fixed the paste mask excluding the edge connector from the stencil. The new boards came within a week.
Ooh, nice. Ah! It topped off at 175 milliamps. So I should just plug it in and see what happens, huh? No way, no way! What? It's there! It's there! It's there! Ah! It's working! This is the serial!
I hoped the serial driver would be included in the Windows update. But oh well, it seems you have to die one death.
Yes! 75 degrees. So yeah, LDO might be a little bit undersized for that.
Next part was to program the microcontroller.
One LED and everything populated. Let's download. Nothing. What? Okay, some debugging later. What? It's blinking! The first success.
That restored my trust into populating the whole matrix again. And that one works as well. I added the programming connector such that I'd be able to use it in place. You remember what I said about the reset circuit? It appeared that that needed some tweaking since the control flow signals are inverted, but using a serial terminal, fiddling with those made it boot eventually.
Yeah!
Meanwhile, a cool thing happened. Basil, who made the web ISP for those microcontrollers, noticed that I forked his project and offered to help. With his help and some great effort from the chat, we actually made it upload the firmware, which was the last missing key to make this project really portable.
If this works, I eat my head today. Yes! Yeah, I made this! I made this! Yeah!
I tried to find a way of modifying the reset circuit to work with the inverted signals.
3.2 volts.
But there was always some configuration
Huh?
that would make the matrix stop working.
It's not working.
Some brainstorming later, Basil and I found a circuit that would require only a few components and should cover all the cases properly. And I already used it in the upcoming project, so follow for more. But now was the time to enjoy the success with the crew on stream and let CH382 Code a web drawing tool that would handle the drawing as well as sending the data to the serial port of the matrix.
Pink pixel draw tool. This is so cool.
I was impressed how well that worked. So I started a Node.js WebSocket server on my web server, and the people were able to send their art directly from the drawing tool. Of course, I had it coming and the first images were of a rocket. But after that, the creativity took finally over. That was amazing, and Mormon wrote even a tool to stream a scroller or even Doom. I'm really happy how that project turned out without melting my mini PC in the process. The amazing people in the community really helped to lead this project forward. This is where open source shines, and I hope my little contribution can be used as a base for some freaky PC hardware. All the design files and code can be found linked below. Great thanks to Isla for sponsoring this project, and big thanks to my supporters. Thank you for watching, and I see you next time. Bye!
85 degrees, that's alright.